As you requested for a color grading tutorial on my latest cinematic video, in this tutorial we are going to jump into the Davinci Resolve and I will show you how I did this Slog2 cinematic color grading. But before starting, I should mention that I am not a professional colorist by any means, and this is just how I do the color grading on my own videos. Let's watch the intro and start the tutorial. I have created a new project and I have imported my footage into it. The reason why I chose this shot for the color grading process is that it has everything in it. It has the sky, it has the flowers, it has the skin of the model, it has the green foliage, it has the trees and everything. I will start by creating my nodes. I will start by the noise reduction because it is always the first node I create in my process. The next node which I'm going to create is the primaries. In the primaries, we adjust the exposure, contrast, temperature, and other things. After that, I create my color space transform node. I will explain it to you later, don't worry. And after that, I will create my parallel nodes. I will create 4 parallel layers. I need 4 of them, one for the sky, one for the flowers, one for the skin, and one for the green foliage. My next node is going to be my clouds node. As you see here, we have a little bit of clouds here. It's not really visible, but I'm going to create it and I will show you how it affects our picture. And the next node is going to be my look node. And after that, I will create a vignette node and I will add a power window for the vignette. I will invert it. Also, I will give some softness to it. Then I will create an outside node. This outside node is the reverse of my vignette node, and I can add some pop to my subject. And let's rename it to outside node. Now let's start by the color space transform node. So what is color space transform? When you shoot a video, there are 2 things which you should consider. The first thing is the video gamma. For example, when you are shooting in S-Log, your video gamma is Slog2. And the second thing which you should consider is your color space of the video. So when you shoot in Slog2, your color space is S-gamut. But in this video, when I was shooting this video, I changed the picture profile and I edited it and changed the color mode or color space of the video from the S-gamut to ITU 709 matrix. So why did I do this? Because as Sony mentioned in its user manual, for the 8-bit cameras, for example the Sony A7III, it is not using the original and the main S-gamut color space for these 8-bit cameras. So there is no benefit of using this S-gamut color space for Sony A7III, and you'd better go with the Rec 709 color mode, which gives you a cleaner color and less noise. I go to my OpenFX panel and I will search for the color space transform and I will add it to this node. When you add it to this node, a window opens here. As I said, and there are two things which you should consider. One is color space and one is gamma. Our input color space, as I said, it was ITU 709 matrix, which is Rec 709. And for this project, by default, the Davinci is set to Rec 709, so we do not need to change this. Our output gamma was Slog2. I need to change this to Slog2. And then our output color space, again, we need a Rec 709 for exporting. So our output color space is again Rec 709 as the timeline. And our output gamma is going to be Rec 709, which is by default set by the project, and you will not see any difference here when I set it. Now I move to the primaries node and I will start to balance my picture. I will decrease the temperature so I make the picture a little bit more cooler. For example, by cooling this picture, I have more blues in the sky, as you see. And I will decrease the tint to make it more greenish. I do not want much magenta in the shot. And for the contrast, I will increase the contrast a little bit to give some pop to the picture. And in the lift, I will decrease the lift to see how much contrast we want in the shadow areas. For example, I will make it contrasty, and then when the picture becomes really dark, you can play with the gamma. I increase the gamma to bring the pictures a little bit up and fix the dark shadows. I have both my depths in the dark shadows, and also the picture is not really dark here. You should always play with these sliders to balance your picture. I always start by lift, and then I will move to the gamma, as you see. For the highlights, I want to decrease this to -100. I want the much detail in the highlights. I want my sky to have the most details. So I have decreased it to -100. Then I will go to my log wheels and I will decrease the shadow so my blacks get some more depths. The lower blacks, as you see when you go to the log wheels, the lower blacks, it affects the lower blacks, and I decrease it to give some depths to my blacks. Now, as you see here, our picture has more depths to it, and now we can start to play with our parallel nodes and adjust the elements of the video. Let's start by the sky. In the sky node, I want to use my qualifier to select my sky. So I select the qualifier and drag here. I select this highlight tool to show me what it has selected. You should play with this to have a fine selection of the sky. It will select the dress too, but it's okay. Then add some denoise and clean black and clean whites. Also add a ton of blur radius. Don't be afraid, it is really good. It makes the edges soft. Then you can disable these highlights, and now I want to add some saturation to my sky. I will change the saturation from 50 to 55. Then I want to bring down the go to the wheels tab, and I will bring down the lift a little bit. As you see, it is adding more contrast to the sky if I enable and disable this. And also you can bring down the gamma too to make a sky more bluer. As you see, when you bring down the luminance, the saturation will increase, and as you see, we have more saturation and depths in the sky and also the model's dress. Here is my sky node, and then I will move to the skin node. For the skin, again, I choose my qualifier and I select the skin. I drag here. Now let's check it. We need to refine it a little bit. I want more of the skin. You can select the saturation, and by luminance you can remove the hair. A little bit of it is okay. It can be in the selection. It's okay. And then you need to denoise it, clean black and clean white, and give it some blur radius. Then disable your highlights to see. For the face, I want to give it some pop to the face of the model. For this, I will add some gamma and gain to it. For example, look at here, gamma, I increase it 1, as you see. Do not go really much, just a little bit. And also some gain, for example, as you see here. We have more depths in his face and her face, and her face pops. It has a great impact. It is a little touch, but it has a great impact on her face. Then I will move to the flowers node. In the flowers node, I do not need qualifier because this is the only yellow color in the picture, so I only go to my hue versus hue, and I select my yellow hue here, And I will rotate my hue to give it more orange look to my flowers instead of those greenish flowers. I want it to be more orange. It's much beautiful in this way. As you see, it has a great impact on the photo. Look at this. Our colors, we have more beautiful colors in the shots. Then I will move to my foliage node and I want to select this green foliage of the flowers. I will go to my qualifier and select this green foliage. I will check my highlights and I want to clean these trees. It's in the luminance. I will clean those. Let me check the saturation. It was in the saturation, not in the luminance. As you see, I have selected those green foliages. Now I can play with the luminance and also select the darker parts. And also here, I do not want to go a lot because it will select the flowers just a little bit, not too much. And now I will add some denoise like always. I will clean the blacks, I will clean the whites, and I will give it a lot of blur. Don't be shy about it and go up. Then I will disable my highlights. Now I want to make these greens less saturated. I will decrease the saturation from 50 to 35, for example. They have become less saturated, and also I want to decrease the gamma to give them more depths. As you see, I really like dark greens. I do not know about you, but I really enjoy those dark greens. As you see here, I have darkened these greens, which gives the picture more depth. For my clouds node, I want to give some pop to these clouds, so I make them more pronounced. I will select my qualifier, and in the luminance section I will bring this, I will make this narrower. I will select my highlights, and as you see, you can select the very bright part of the clouds. As you see here, I want a really small part of the clouds. I will denoise it. I will clean the blacks, clean the whites, also give it some blur. And now in the gamma, I want to increase the gamma. As you see, just a little bit. You should not go really overboard with this, a little bit, because it will ruin your picture. Let me check this. I don't want this part. It is a little bit bad here. I want to remove that. Just that. I will give it softness here. Use this softness slider. It is really good. It makes everything really soft here. As you see, I have a better selection now. Now if you check it, it is much better. As you see, it became soft. I will increase the gamma a little bit. Now as you see, we have nice clouds over her head. It really helps the picture and makes the picture more 3D, as you see here. And if I play it, we do not have any banding or any issue, and it is really good. As you see, I can even go higher to 20, and it has really helped the mood of the shot. Now I move to my look node, and in this node I want to give it my desired feeling and look to the picture. You can both play with these sliders here, but if you have a Davinci Resolve panel, it is really easier to play with this. But if you do not have a Davinci Resolve panel like me, I recommend you to go to the bars tab and start adjusting these with your mouse wheel. It is really easier. It is the same as these, but it is only easier with mouse. So I recommend you to, instead of playing with this, just go to the bars and start playing with these RGB channels separately. I want to make my shadows warmer, so I will decrease my blues. So I am adding yellow in my shadows, as you see here. And now as you see, the picture becomes a little bit greenish. So I will decrease the greens also a little bit. And now as you see, we have a lot of red in the shadows, and also I will decrease the reds. I am just moving my mouse wheel. I am holding the mouse pointer here, and I am dragging my mouse wheel to up or down to adjust these channels. Then I will move to the gamma. Again, for the gamma, I want to add some warmth to my midtones. Gamma is my midtones. I will decrease my blues to add some yellow to my midtones. And then again, as you see, we have a lot of green in the shot too, so I need to decrease my greens too. I will decrease my greens. And now we have red as before we saw in the shadows, so I will decrease my reds too. You should play with this to your desire, but play with them a little by little to get what you want. As you see, if I enable or disable this, I have made the picture warmer here. Now I will move to the gains slider. I will decrease the reds because I see a little bit of red in my shots. Then in my gain, I will add some blue because it helps the sky to become more blue. I will increase the blue channel in my gain. As you see, it helps the sky to become more blue. And also I will add some green to balance it. And as you see, we have a nicer and warmer image, which is more richer, and I really like it. I will go to full screen. As you see, this is only this node which I am enabling and disabling, as you see. And here is what we get with the Lux node. Let's enable and disable all the nodes together to see where we have come. We have changed a lot of things in this picture. And now I will move to the Vignette tab. In the Vignette tab, I have created my power window before, and now the only thing I need to do is to go to my custom curve, and I will create a point here, and I will decrease it to give it some vignette around the picture. As you see, it makes the picture more 3D and more beautiful. You can go to the power window and even make this softer as you want. It becomes better, as I think, the more softer you make it. And now in my outside node, I will again go to my curves and a little bit bring it up to give it more pop. And if I enable and disable these two, if I enable and disable these, again I made mistake. If I enable and disable these two, you see it has a lot of impact on the picture. Let's move it forward and check the color grading we did here again. As you see, we had a dramatic change in the picture, and it is really awesome. The Davinci Resolve is just amazing. From when I moved from Premiere to Davinci Resolve, my color grading game has changed dramatically. Now the only thing is the noise reduction. As you see, if you have the Davinci Resolve Studio version, you can use this feature, and if you do not have, you can skip this part, but noise reduction really helps the Slog2 videos. I will set the frames to 3. The more you go up, the more processing power it needs, and the slower the export time gets, so you need a more powerful computer. I will increase this chroma and luma temporal threshold, as you see, it cleans a lot of noise in the shadows. As you see, we have much lower noise. And in the spatial, I will disconnect this chain, and I will only increase the chroma. I just want to remove those chroma noises, color noises. So I will increase this chroma noise a little bit, and as you see, it removes the color noise in the shadows. And if I disable and enable this, you will see we have much nicer shadows here, and it doesn't affect really much the sharpness of the photo. It works really awesome. Now let's move backwards and check our picture again in full screen. Let me go full screen and check the picture, our color grading. We add so much pop and contrast to the picture, and we do not see any sign of bandings or artifacts, even if this is an 8-bit footage. But the Davinci Resolve is just miracle. Guys, I really hope this tutorial was helpful for you, and if you liked it, please do not forget to hit that like button. And if this is the first time you are watching my content, my name is Mehran Hadad. I'm a photographer and filmmaker, and in this channel I post videos about gears, reviews, tutorials, and many more other stuff which is related to the photography and videography world. So if you are interested in them, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button too. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next videos.